Good morning, everybody. November 15th, and it's the open trapping season here in the Ozarks. So I'm getting out and putting a few sets in here in the lovely mountains. Don't usually start with a bunch of sets this first couple weeks. Rifle deer season starts tomorrow, so there's gonna be tons of people in the woods. A lot of the land that I trap on, the hunters will be out hunting, so I try not to bother them at all. So if anybody's going to be hunting, I just stay off of those areas. So I start off with 2 or 3 main properties where nobody's hunting, deer hunting that is, and I'm just helping the farmers out. There is still obviously coyotes here and predators here, so that's what we're doing. So today we started right in the back of this little field, just to give you an idea of what the field is like. All around the outside is nothing but brush, where they cleared this field a couple, 3 years ago. So it's all these brush piles all the way around the outside, and tons of mice and stuff living in here. So this is a little field. There's a little road that goes down. You can see the cows have got it eaten pretty far, but there's a road that goes down into the bottom where 3 drainages come together. You can see there's 1, 2, 3 drainages that all come together down there. So that's a good spot. But these coyotes run right up through this field, up that road, through this field, and then they go right back into here in this corner, and they run right back up in there. And then there's a big long, not really a clear cut, but a path that's about 4 or 5 feet wide where they've cut a bunch of cedars out of there. It's very, very rough, even too rough for, I don't even put my side-by-side in there. It's just nothing but rock. But the coyotes run along that, and then they dump right into this field, and then they hunt. So I got one set right over there, a little dirt hole set, using a cow pile as a backing right there. And then I have another set right here, and this is a T-bone. You can see right there is the T-bone set. You can see how I got it mostly covered up. And the reason I'm running both these sets right here is I've caught, I don't know, 15 coyotes here probably over the last couple years. And early in the season when all these pups are running around, it's a great way to double and triple up. So I'm going to put these 2 right here, and then down there at the bottom where the road dumps into the bottom, into those drainages, into this field. That's a great pinch point there. You have 4 things that are all coming together. Probably put a couple sets down there, see if we can't double up in the next few days on some pups right here. So welcome to trapping season. First 2 sets are in the ground. It's like, I don't know, 22 degrees this morning, but beautiful and sunny. Great trapping weather. And now we'll get out and see if we can't punch about 20 or 25 sets in today. Okay guys, here's my 3rd set of the day. This is just a little flat set. Got 2 little holes punched just with a stake driver up against that piece of wood there, and got some fox urine on there, and then a couple different, one different lure, then a little bit of Caven's Terminator in the other hole, and then I've got a trap there kind of out in the front about 8 inches back from the piece of wood. And where I have this trap is, there's the road that goes down into the big drainage, and then here's the field. I was just in the back of this field, put the first 2 sets in over there, and I've done pretty good in this little area right here where this little road comes up here and dumps into this field. Those 3 big drainages come together down there. The 3, well, big is probably not the right word. 3 small drainages, but they're all running creeks. They run together right down there, and then they come up this little road, and then I'm gonna hopefully catch them right here. As they come into this field and they come the other way, I'll hopefully catch them up that way. But if I miss them that way, this gives me another opportunity. And I've taken coyotes and fox at this little pinch point here. So we have 3 traps right here just because it's such a good area, and I've caught so many predators here in the past. I know it may not look like much, but with all this brush around the edges, there's a lot of mice and such in here. So that's it. 3rd set of the day. We're moving on. So I stopped along one of the little roads, and I kind of just walked maybe 20 yards off of the little 2-track back into this little cedar glade. And what I'm doing back here is this is one of the areas where the farmer, when he has a cattle that dies, usually in the winter, but whenever, you can see he drags it back in here and puts it out of sight back in the cedar glades. And here in the Ozarks we have all these big cedar glades. So you can see there's all kinds of bone piles back in here. So all I'm doing is I just stop by here and grab me a bunch of T-bones and things that I can use for the season, setting traps if I decide I want to use T-bones. So I just stopped by, grabbed a few, and then I'm moving on to the next spot. But you come across these areas, grab them as you go, because then you can just use them whenever you need them and throw them in a 5-gallon bucket or whatever you're going to throw them in, and then you can just keep them. And now I have about 20 T-bones, so that'll keep me stocked for a bit. So as I continued my journey, right up there is the first field I went into. Now I'm headed down this road into the bottom where the 3 little creeks come together. But I've noticed 3 different piles of coyote scat along the way here, just along this little 2-track road. So obviously my location is spot on. I picked up the scat. I'm going to use them at the next set. So we picked up T-bones, been picking up scat and putting sets in. So this is looking pretty good. I think we're going to come out of here with some good coyotes in the next couple days. Okay, so on this particular set, for the trapping purist out there, don't yell and scream at me, but I wanted to put in a dirt hole right here, kind of make a flashy looking dirt hole with the 3 drainages that are all coming together right here. There's kind of a little peninsula that sticks out right here where you have the bigger creek, a smaller creek, and then another smaller creek, and they all join right here. So it brings 3 drainages together, and then you got the 3 creeks that all keep running. You got a little field on this side and a little field on this side, but there's nothing really in those fields. So those predators are just basically running this edge where these 3 drainages come together along the side of this creek. But there's all kinds of rocks and brush piles and stuff. So like this brush pile right here. So and it's all rock, it's all shelf rock underneath here, so I can't put an earth anchor in. So I put a drag in and I just threw it over there in that brush pile. And I also can't put a dirt hole in. So what I did is I went down about maybe 3, maybe 4 inches at the absolute most. And then it's all shelf rock. And then I punched in 2 small little holes on both sides about 3 inches. And I basically made this into kind of a modified flat set, kind of, for lack of a better word. It's got the hole there, so it's got a little bit of the flash, but it's really kind of a flat set. And I just put itty bitty little bit of bait down in the main hole and stuck a rock dent in there to kind of keep it down in there as best I can, because they're going to pull that out with it only being 3 or 4 inches deep. And then the small little punch holes on both sides of the, they're about 3 or 4 inches on both sides of the dirt hole. I put a couple different lures in there. I put some fox urine on the back, and just kind of try to basically blend it in as best I can. And that's it. So kind of a modified, flashy, flat set, I guess. Alright guys, so I'm still setting traps, and here's kind of where I am. I got this edge right here that runs along the edge of this field. You can see it's just all kinds of stuff that the dozer cleared out. This field's, I don't know how long it is. This field's been here a long time, 20 years, but there's all kinds of brush and stuff along the sides. You can see they're still cutting some cedars and stuff off down in there and making brush piles. But what we have is we have that edge that just runs along, open field here, but there's nothing for the coyotes out here. Small little pond right there, but there's the edge that runs right there, and then it comes to right here, and then it goes that way, where you have that edge that goes along the field, and then you have this edge that goes this way, that runs kind of right in the middle here, where you got a little bit of a field, a little bit of a field, and you got this edge is just all full of brush and stuff. So you got 3 edges, 1, 2, 3 that come together right here in this little corner. And then the other cool thing about this spot is, see, I had these big old mounds. I don't know if you can tell or not, but there's these big old mounds here. And since they're in this field and you got all this brush, that's a great spot for these coyotes to get up on top of these mounds and look all around. They'll get up on these little high spots and look all around. So I'm going to put a dirt hole right here in the side of this bank. So number one, coyote comes over here to climb up on top of this mountain, look around, we have him. The ones that go this way, we have them. The ones that go this way, we have them. And the ones that go this way, we have them. So we got basically 3 little edges here. We can hopefully get coyotes here. And I've caught coyotes along this little edge right here. I don't know. Probably last year I probably took half a dozen off this little edge, and then year before probably 4 or 5. So 10 in the last couple years right here on this little edge. So I'm going to put one set right here, and then I'll probably put another set right up in there. Especially this time of year again, because these pups, and it's a great time to double up, because if you're having a hard time catching coyotes, this is the time of year to try to catch them when the pups are all dispersing, because they're not quite as phobic and definitely not quite as smart, and they're young and they're curious. They're kind of like humans. They're kind of young and stupid. So it's a good time to try to catch them before they get smart. Alright guys, here is this is set number 11, which is a little dirt hole. You can see that's what it kind of looks like. And the reason I put this set here is I have this little 2-track road. I have this little 2-track road. And I have this little 2-track road that goes down into the drainage. So I have 3 little roads that kind of come together right here. And there's some coyote scat just right over there on that little 2-track. So I think this will probably be a good little spot. These 3 intersections kind of along this ridge. Because here in the Ozarks, the coyotes will either run the ridges, or they'll run the drainages in the bottoms, or they'll run edges. So you just got to figure out where they're going to run. And these old logging roads, or these old 2-track roads along the ridges, are a good spot. And as you can tell, there's all kinds of brush and junk, and they looks like they cut some cedars out of this, but then it's all just kind of growing back. So good spot for rabbits and mice and all kinds of stuff. So we'll see how this little set goes. Again, you can see I'm not blocking anything today. Not blocked a single thing today. Most everything I've set today is just for coyotes. I'm not going to set any cat traps until probably December, around 1st of December. Let them kind of get a little bit more prime, maybe middle of December. So right now I'm just trying to take off some coyotes. I'll end up catching probably a few coons in some of these sets, some boar coons, and I'll probably end up catching a fox or 2 every now and then, but I'm really targeting the coyotes. So that's why I'm putting in these sets in these specific locations. You gotta love the views from here in the Ozarks. Getting out, putting some traps in on a sunny day. It's 48 degrees now. It was 21 this morning, so it's a nice, beautiful first day of the trapping season. Alright guys, the last 2 sets of the day are going to be right here overlooking this valley. I just put a couple sets down there, not in that first big pond, but on the dam of the second big pond. Quite a bit of coyote tracks across the top of that dam. You can't really see the big, it's about a half an acre. It's a good sized pond. And they're like right below each other. And the second pond is pretty good size. And the coyotes just run across the top of the dam because it's pretty steep and it pinches them in down there. So they either have to go way up over there, or they have to go way up over there. So basically they just run down through this drainage and they come up this road. There's a 2-track farm road that goes right down there and goes right on down on the left side of both of those ponds and just keeps on going down through the drainage. So right here you got this intersection. The 2-track goes that way, and the 2-track goes this way across the top of this dam, and keeps on going all the way around the ridge over there. So this three-way intersection right here next to this pond dam is a pretty good spot. I've caught coyotes here before, so I'm going to put up a couple sets here. Probably put it in a dirt hole, and then I'll probably put in like a T-bone or something. I just set dirt holes and flat sets down through there. And then as you can see way off down there in the distance, that's where we were earlier. Maybe 3 miles farther down that drainage is where I started today, and I've been working my way back up this way. So probably 4 miles on this particular stretch of land. I don't know how many acres are here, but I don't know, maybe 3,000, something like that. And I'll have 20 sets in today. Again, it's not a ton of sets, but it's the first day, and you know, you always got to get back in the groove. Plus, I'm just really doing pinch points, so I'm not trying to put sets all over the place. You could put hundreds of sets in here if you really wanted to, but I'm just really going after the main pinch points and the main spots where I know that these coyotes are going to be running. You know, 2-track, multi-intersections, multi-edges, all kinds of stuff like that. So, all right, we'll punch these in and we'll be done for day 1. 20 sets in on the first day, and we'll see how it goes.